Okay, so this week's parsha is Parshas Kisavai. And in Perek Chavav, Pasuk Yud Ches and Pasuk Yud Tes are what we're going to focus on. And we're going to see the details of the Pasuk and of Rashi. We're going to learn so much just from the words of the Pasuk, of the Psukim. So in Pasuk Yud Ches, it says as follows: V'Hashem ha'emircha hayayim, and Hashem has distinguished you today, liyos loy la'am segula, to be for him a treasured people, kasher diber lach, as he spoke to you, v'lishmar kol mitzvaysav, and to observe all his commandments. And then in the next pasuk it says as follows: Ulasitcha elyon al kol hagayim, and to make you supreme over all the nations, asher asa, that he made, l'shila u'l'shem l'seferes, for praise, for renown, and for splendor, v'liyoscha am kadosh la'Hashem elakacha kasher diber, and so you will be a holy people to Hashem, your God, as he spoke. Okay. Every pasuk in the Torah is like this.
I know, but some are more like
Oh, you mean with that regard?
Yeah.
Oh. So this is packed with lessons. It's incredible. So if I was to summarize Pasuk Yud Ches in 2 words, Pasuk Yud Ches is talking about Am Segula. We are a treasured nation. And Pasuk Yud Tes, if I was to summarize it in 2 words, taking the words straight from the Pasuk, is Am Kadosh, you are a holy nation. Now, if you go into Rashi, on the bottom, very, very interesting. Rashi 18, it's the last line of Rashi on this in the English Chumash here. Kasher diber lach, as he spoke to you, v'yisem li segula, you will be a treasure to me. So Rashi is saying, you're going to be a treasured nation, like Hashem already told you. Where did Hashem tell you? If you go to Parshas Yisrael, before the giving of the Torah, Hashem already said it over there, and it gives you, v'yisem li segula, it repeats, it gives you the exact source. You will be a treasure to me. And you see 5:6, the little note over there. Where is it coming from? Exodus 19:5, which is Yisrael. Okay. And when it comes to the next pasuk, where it says, when it speaks about a holy nation, what does Rashi say? So 19, Rashi 19, that you will be a holy people, etc., as he spoke. And he gives you a proof, and he says, Hashem already told you that you're going to be a holy nation. Where did Hashem tell you you're going to be a holy nation? V'yisem likkutei, you shall be holy for me. He tells you we're in the past, has Hashem said this. And if you look, what's the source of that? That's Leviticus 20:26, which is a different source. It's from Parshas Kedoshim, at the end of Parshas Kedoshim. And that's the source that Rashi brings. Okay, so guess what? If you go to Parshas Yisrael, where it speaks about Hashem telling the Yidden that you're going to be a treasured nation, immediately following that, there's songs about it. Immediately after Hashem says, you're my treasured nation, Hashem says that you're going to be a mamlechas kayanim, a kingdom of priests, v'goy kadosh, and a holy nation. So if in Parshas Yisrael it speaks about that we're a treasured nation and a holy nation, why is Rashi kind of finding a different source for, when did Hashem tell you you're going to be a holy nation? Oh, that's from Parshas Kedoshim. Why won't he take from Parshas Yisrael, where we're speaking about the treasure nation? In Parshas Yisrael, it speaks about a treasure nation and a holy nation. Here it speaks about a treasure nation and a holy nation. Why is Rashi pulling away from Parshas Yisrael and finding a different source to tell you that Hashem already told you, you're going to be a holy nation. Where? In Parshas Kedoshim. Now, Rashi had three options. A, he could have given you the proof from Yisrael. Over there in Yisrael, it says that you should be a holy nation. B, at the end of Parshas Shmini, it also says, be holy. And three, in the beginning of Parshas Kedoshim, it says, be holy. So Rashi had three other chances, three other proofs, three other times where the Torah mentions be holy before this time, the end of Parshas Kedoshim, and Rashi specifically choosing the fourth time it says in the Torah to tell you, oh, this is where Hashem said you should be a holy nation. So that's just one of the questions. Okay, so the answer is from one word. In the pasuk, we're going to find the answer. If you look at pasuk Yud Ches, it's actually two letters. A two-lettered word in pasuk Yud Ches is going to give you the key to this whole answer. You want to try to find it? A two-lettered word in pasuk Yud Ches, loch. Two-lettered word loch, that's going to give the answer. That's going to be the key for the answer. In pasuk Yud Ches, it says, Kasher diber loch, as Hashem spoke to you. Okay. And in pasuk Yud Tes, it just says, as he spoke. Now, we're supposed to, the English translation is wonderful and great, but Kasher diber loch, in Chumash Bereshis, we already learned, here it's translating it as he spoke to you. But in Rashi, in Chumash Bereshis, it says that every time it says loch, as he spoke to you, it's not as he spoke to you. It means as he spoke about you. So in pasuk Yud Ches, it's a promise. You are going to forever be a treasured nation to me, and there's nothing that you have to do about it. Kasher diber lach, Hashem spoke about you. It's not to you, but it's Hashem spoke about you. The literal translation is that Hashem spoke to you, but it means that Hashem spoke about you. Versus pasuk Yud Tes, where it says Kasher diber, Hashem spoke. This is an instruction, a direct instruction to the Yidden. So in pasuk Yud Ches, it's a promise, nothing to do with, you don't have to do anything. And pasuk Yud Tes it's an instruction, you have to do something, you have to make it happen. Okay. Okay, so what's going on here? And one more detail that I want to bring out is that when Rashi's Dibur HaMaschil, the words that Rashi highlights to come and bring his explanation on, are very, very important. If you look at pasuk Yud Ches, the caption, what he highlights is Kasher diber lach, as he spoke to you. The caption for 19 for pasuk Yud Tes is, he doesn't just say Kasher diber, but he prefaces it and he says V'liyaischa am kadosh v'goymer. The emphasis is on the word V'liyaischa, that you will be. Here, because of this word, because of this letter, cha, this proves that this is a call for action. And that's why the title, what Rashi highlights, is longer. He's adding this piece. He's not just saying the diber part kashar dibar lach or kashar diber, but he's adding this word of liyaischa because the cha is very, very important here. This is pasuk Yutes is a call to action, while pasuk Yudches is a promise. Okay, so what is going on here? Okay. So let's look at the flow. We know that pasuk Yudches is a promise, right? Hashem says, Hashem chose you, Hashem distinguished you from other nations, you're going to be chosen, you're going to be his treasure, like Hashem said, v'lishmar kol mitzvaysav, and to fulfill all his commandments. Now, to fulfill all of his commandments, what is that? That's action, right? And then the next pasuk, which is all about instruction, right? What does it say? That the Hashem, what's that? It's talking about what Hashem is going to do. That Hashem is going to make you supreme over all the nations that he made for praise, for renown, and for splendor. So it's what Hashem is going to do. And then it says, and so that you will be a holy people, which we said is a call to action. So seemingly, there's a little bit of a mix-up over here. Let's put in one pasuk all the stuff that Hashem promises, that we don't have to do, that come automatic. And then the next pasuk speak about that we should fulfill all of his mitzvahs and that we should be holy. Why is it like, it seems like the ping pong over here? You're telling the promise, then that we're chosen nation, that we're treasure nation, then you tell us fulfill all of his mitzvahs, then you go back and you say, oh, that Hashem is going to raise us above all the nations, and then you go back and say you have an instruction that you have to be a holy nation. So it's a little bit like flip-flopping over here. What's going on? Okay. So it's incredible. Like, you could just read it. It's beautiful psukim. But if you take it with a magnifying glass, we just asked a bunch of questions, and there's a bunch more questions that that the Rebbe asks on these psukim. This is just the ones that are very that I could remember off the top of my head. Okay. So okay. So what's going on here? A king, the Torah brings a parable, a mashal of a king. A king, perfect for Elul, and for Rosh Hashanah, because Rosh Hashanah is all about crowning Hashem as our king. And Hashem's in the field, answers all of our requests. A king has two types of treasures. There are treasures that he needs to run his country, right? To just the everyday operation of what the people need. Then there are treasures that are hidden in a vault. They're locked up. No one could see it.
But he knows it's there.
He knows it's there. Not only does he know it's there, he takes the pleasure of going into his treasury room or opening up the vault and just looking at, touching, feeling, enjoying the sparkling gems. But he's the only one that has access to it. No one else sees it. No one else could touch it. It's only for the king. Now, so as we said, some of the jewels, you could take a jewel and put it in the king's crown. You could put it in the king's ring. That's for display for everyone to see. Or maybe it'll make the people be afraid of you, of the king. That's for that's for everyone to see. But there are treasures that no one's going to see. And that is what we are compared to. The Jewish people are Hashem's treasure, not the one that's on display in the king's crown, but rather we're the treasure that's locked up in the vault, hidden. And you know what? It may never come out. It may never come out. It may just be there and we'll never see it. Then there could be a case of an emergency where there's an enemy and there's a war effort. And then at that point, the king opens up his treasury, and there are gems there and precious stones that could be seen there for generations. And the king just opens it up and literally, like, it's almost like wasteful, like pours out onto the streets just to be able to win the war. So it could be that it could come out, but it could be hidden away. No one will ever see it. No one will ever be able to enjoy it, look at it, touch it, anything like that. Okay, So, okay. So those gems that only the king could see, that only he could enjoy these shimmering gems, this is not the gems for the people, for the nation, for someone else, for another purpose. They may never be used. And you could say, what's the purpose of a gem sitting in a vault? Never seen, never used, right? But those gems elevate the king in the most internal and personal way. It's not for anybody else. It just, when the king is looking at these gems, touching them, feeling them, enjoying them, and he knows that no one else has access to it, it reminds him how special he is. It reminds him that he's a king. No one else has access to this but me. And it's not for any other purpose. It's not to help anybody. It's not to pay for anything for the people. It's just for the king's personal pleasure. That's it. There's no ulterior motive. There's no other purpose. Just it exists just for the pleasure of the king. So what? Yes, this is all of us sitting here.
We're the treasure.
We're the treasure. So all the other nations of the world, they are here for a purpose. They are here with 7 Noahide laws. They are here for the purpose of serving the Jewish people. It may not be apparent right now, but they're here to live, to keep these 7 mitzvahs and to make this world a moral place. For everything that they do and everything that they're here for is not for their own sake, but it's for another purpose. It's for the purpose of, why was the world created? In the beginning of Chumash Bereshis, Beis Reishis, for 2 things, for the Torah and for the Yidden. So that's the purpose of creation is for the Torah and for the Yidden. Everything else is to serve that. But the Jews are different. We're not created in order for, so that something else, at our core, a Jew, his purpose is just to be Hashem's treasure. End of story. Before Torah, before mitzvahs, just the existence of a Jewish person is giving Hashem pleasure, much, much more than the pleasure that a king will get from sitting in his treasury and feeling and enjoying and looking at and touching his shimmering diamonds.
And we're doing good. What does that connect to the questions you asked before? What are promises and the actions for the law? How does this connect?
So we are Hashem's treasure. It's a promise that we're Hashem's treasure,
Okay.
without having to do anything. It's not a call to action. You don't have to do anything. You give birth to a Jewish child.
Without the condition.
You gave Hashem incredible pleasure. There's the Chabad Rebbetzin who I'm in touch with in France. She's asked me which teaching she asked me which teaching I'm doing. She wanted she was also debating. She said, the one about the gates really spoke to her, but the one about the gate is really about last week's parsha, because the way the project is that it's one teaching from last week's parsha, one teaching from this week's parsha. And she said, I might speak to my teachers. She's a principal of a school. So I said to her, I didn't really learn the other one about the gate, but this is great for teachers to know the value of your students before they do anything. Realize what you have. I'm saying, when you send your kid to yeshiva, whichever age, however hard it is to get in, but you want the teacher to realize, this is my treasure, this is my diamonds, this is my, how much we invest into our kids. They're our most precious possessions. It says in Hayom Yom that a Jewish person's wealth is not money, but it's Jewish children that go in the right way. So these are our treasures, and if we hope our greatest hope on the first week of school, or that the teachers, the principals, the administration will see our children as our treasures, because that's really what they are.
Amen.
And
I
each
almost have a visual like taking you to the schools and you speaking. I don't know why that's coming. I would take you everywhere.
no, I'm saying
Right, that's
this
true.
whole thing is backwards, that I have to beg on my hands and knees for the school to take my kid. If I offered you a diamond,
Right.
would you say, call me back in 3 months? I'll see if I have space in my treasure box for you. You know what I'm saying? But if we saw the children for who they are, it's just the pleasure of that Hashem gets just from this Jewish child being on this earth.
Right.
And the lesson, the Rebbe brings down this lesson at the end. The Rebbe says, it teaches us the lesson here is all about Ahavas Yisrael, to love another Jew. And we're coming to Chai Elul. Chai Elul is the birthday of the Baal Shem Tov and Alter Rebbe. The whole mission of the Baal Shem Tov was to bridge the gap between the great Torah scholars and the shoemakers and the tailors, the simple Jews, and to show that their Tehillim, the preciousness of the Tehillim of someone, of a Jew who only knows how to read dearly, So to push it, to see the treasure and the value of every Jew. And there's a very, very famous story of the Rebbe. The Rebbe was already, very older age, and the Rebbe would stand for hours and distribute dollars to people on Sundays. And a woman came to the Rebbe and she said, how do you have kayach? You're 80, 90 years old to stand on your feet for 5-6 hours every Sunday and give out dollars. How do you not get tired? At least sit down. And the Rebbe said, when you're counting diamonds, you don't get tired. The Rebbe truly saw the diamond inside of us. The Rebbe truly believed in us. The Rebbe saw our infinite power. And he had no problem standing for 5-6 hours giving dollars because he saw that. So we have to see it. The teachers have to see it. You have to see it on our, we have to, and not every day is an easy day. Especially, 2-3 weeks of vacation when everyone's home, whatever it is. But to be able to look at this child and say, you know what? This child is without before. It's not he's valuable because he's making brachas and doing mitzvahs and davening, whatever it is. He's valuable just his existence. Period. End of story. Okay. And a proof how we know this is that when Hashem created the world, before Hashem created the world, it says that Hashem consulted with the souls of tzaddikim about whether he should create the world or not. So the souls of tzaddikim existed before creation. Why did they exist? There wasn't a world. There was no Torah. There was no mitzvahs. Why were there neshamas? So that proves that the neshamas, the Jews, we weren't created in order to. It wasn't for another purpose. Just a king has treasures. We're Hashem's treasures for no other purpose. Just that. That's what Pasuk Yud Ches is speaking about. And therefore, because we are Hashem's treasures, and because we are so connected to Hashem, these are the treasures that no one else sees. There's no benefit to anyone or anything other than Hashem. So we're so connected to Hashem. We're so one with Hashem. Our existence is only just because it gives Hashem pleasure. And since we're so connected to Hashem, and Hashem and His will are one, we are, therefore, what does the pasuk say? Automatically, therefore, the lishmar kol mitzvaysav. Therefore, we are. There can't be any other way other than that we should keep all of His mitzvahs. It's automatic. Because if we're so connected to Hashem and Hashem and His will are one, then automatically we want to fulfill all of His mitzvahs. And we're not counting mitzvahs. We're not counting all of the mitzvahs. Hashem, whatever you want, whatever is your will is my will. There's no limitation. There's no boundaries. There's nothing that I can't do. There's nothing that's too hard. Kol mitzvahs. All of it, whatever you, Hashem, whatever you want me to do. It says if Hashem would tell us to chop trees, we chop trees. It doesn't have to have a purpose. It doesn't have to, nothing. We could do all of Hashem's mitzvahs because we're so connected to Hashem. Hashem is infinite. We are infinite. Hashem has no reason for being here. We have no reason for being here. We just our being here. We don't need anything else. Just our existence itself is pleasurable to Hashem. It's not we're not a means to an end. Of course, we have to make a dwelling place for Hashem, but that's step two. At our core, we are one with Hashem, and therefore, kol mitzvahs, all of Hashem's mitzvahs is part of this pasuk. We're your treasure, and therefore your will is my will. Your will is my will. It's not even a call to action. It's just so intrinsic. It's just so part of us. Someone who cherishes you, someone who truly cherishes you, like the most amazing treasure, their will is your will. There's no effort here. It's not a chore. You want to, from the deepest part of you, to fulfill their will because they cherish you so much.
Well, so why did you throw us such a monkey wrench last week about effort and struggles?
Ooh.
Ew.
Okay.
I don't know if I was like, should I throw it at you?
No, absolutely. Everything is true. Everything is true. Depends on which level. This level. Same war, same everything.
This is like the foundation, very foundational.
This is like a core.
This is the core.
This is the core. This is the core. Now the next pasuk is how it plays out in real life.
Okay, fine.
Our relationship with Hashem, is twofold. It's twofold. We are Hashem's most greatest treasure, and we give Hashem tremendous pleasure. And we are those gems. We are those gems that are locked away in the vault. But then sometimes there's an enemy. There's a Yetzer Hara. There's a world that we have to contend with. We have to come down to this physical, practical world. And then when there's a war, right? When there's a war, the gems the gems are used. Yeah, there's a mission, there's a struggle. There's the struggle. When the struggle comes, then the king has no choice but to open up the vault and to spill out the treasures, and the treasures are used to fight the war. We come down here, and there's a war, and we have to fight it, and we have to keep the mitzvahs, and there's a struggle. They're both true. They're both true. Those treasures, they're hidden in the vault. That's who we are. Sometimes those treasures have to come out, and we also have a call to action. It's two things that are true at the same time. It's not one or the other. It's both. At our core, we are the treasures in Hashem's vault, and then when we come down into this world, in a practical sense, there's a war to fight. There's a mission to do. There is a call to action.
You know what's coming to me? Like a mother that's like overdue and the baby's in that's like a place of like the treasure, like child, like when a kid is overdue and the mother's like losing her brain. I know this is what's coming to me, like reframing, like it's a good place for the child, because the child is in that space of like just being in treasure, like the whole reframing piece there.
You
get what I'm saying?
The waiting, the anticipation. We're dying for you to come already.
Yeah, that twisted plot of like, it's
and then
they're
they
in a
nude
treasure.
you.
They're in a good place.
And then they nude you to come out.
Yeah,
so it doesn't come right.
I don't know if that's what just came.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm saying there are those moments.
Right.
There are those moments, maybe when they're sleeping, that they're so angelic, and you could eat them up. And then there are times where you don't. And then there are times that on the surface that extreme treasure, love, whatever, fill in the blank is not so apparent. Okay, the kid just
Right.
smashed a beautiful, a beautiful vase or whatever it is, and then the treasure part is not so, you have to work a little harder to bring it to the surface. I'm saying there's the essence of it, and then there's the day-to-day. There's the day-to-day life, and they're both. It's what level are you talking about? What are you talking about? Are you talking about our core, or or are you talking about how the war plays out in this when we're here? Our children are the most precious. It's as a parent, our children are the most precious thing when we take the time to think about it. But sometimes when we're on the phone or when we have a job and the kid's pulling your skirt and you say 1 minute or like, can't you wait? Or, and you're not prioritizing your child at that moment. Yeah. Should you be? Yes. But practically speaking, not always do we have the strength to do that. There are distractions. There are other things that come in the way. And yes, this world is a struggle and we don't always put our family first. I saw a meme yesterday. If you want to change the world, go home and help your family. So sometimes we think if I'm in the world, I have a career, I could who knows what I could do. And sometimes our children are not, we don't put them first always. Should we? Yes. But
my daughter-in-law mouth when she asked, I don't know where to place our priorities. You told her, go to the one who needs you the most. Yeah.
Wow, I don't even remember that conversation.
Because I use that so much in my.
I have another question. What if the husband is involved and the kid? Who's your treasure first? Who do you go to first, the kid or the husband?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. So
the teachers that the husband comes first. But in priorities, sometimes when you're an adult, you maybe could wait.
Yes. And then you can ask the question, and then ask the question even more. What comes first, you or your children?
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't even going down there, but yeah, we can explore that.
So what do they tell you on the plane, right? They tell you put the mask on yourself first,
right,
and then on your child. Right. You have to be emotionally healthy. If you never take the time for yourself for anything.
That's why some people might work. They might work because they need it for their own sanity.
Right.
Right. Not that they're not the right. They just.
You have to be emotionally healthy in order to take care of your family. So I remember vaguely, I think it was from my aunt. She said, in the morning the kids come knocking on the door, mommy, we need you, what are you doing? And the mother replies, I'm making a mommy for you. I'm preparing to be a mommy. If it means I have to daven, if it means I have to do my exercise, it means I have to get dressed, it means I have to take a shower, it means I have to go to the bathroom, whatever it is. I'm preparing the mommy for you.
Very nice. Very nice.
It doesn't mean that every single second I have to be there for every kvetch.
Right.
But, and it doesn't mean that we, sometimes we have to let go. But we have to be able to be a person in order to give. You have to have to what to give.
Now I'm gonna say about the mother's going to the bathroom, like that's the hardest part when the kids are whatever. I was 10 years old and I was knocking on the door. The bathroom, my mother goes, I gave my sister a haircut. If you didn't cut her ear, go away. I cut her ear. And that's why I moved here.
Yeah.
I did. I cut her hair this way and I just cut her ear.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Instead, it hurts. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't go back and it's.
At 10 years old, you cut hair?
Yeah,
Oh
gosh, I would never old. But I was just like,
wow.
Or the kid itself cuts
His own hair. Yeah. If there's no blood, don't call me. Just a joke. Okay. Okay, so that is how we are at our source. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how we are in this real world. Okay, and I'm putting real in quotes because the truth is pasuk Yitches. That's the core. That's the real thing. But how does this play out in this world? Okay, so what's happening here? Very interesting. When it comes to speaking about being holy, the reason why Rashi is taking the proof from the fourth place that he can is because specifically in the fourth place is where it speaks about being a holy nation, specifically a nation. A lot of times, the previous times, Hashem is talking about you be holy as an individual. But here is a call to action to be holy as a nation. Not just worry about yourself, but the whole nation has to work together to be holy as a nation. And it says, Am Kadosh, V'liyoischa, call to action, you should be Am Kadosh. You have to worry and make sure that not just you're holy, that everyone's holy. Someone reached out to me yesterday, she asked me for advice. She said, what should I do? My 10-year-old son is going to yeshiva, and over there he's learning bad language. And my son says, well, if you don't like a bad language, then don't send me to this yeshiva. This is what the child says to the mother. But we have to turn things around. You have to turn things around and say, no, it's not just about you having a good language. It's about you influencing your friends. And I said to her, Am Kadosh. I said to her, we have to be a whole nation. We have to teach our children. We have to teach. Forget about. Besides that, we have to see our children as treasures, and the teachers have to see ourselves as treasures. The kids have to see themselves as treasures. If you know that you're Hashem's most precious treasure, you're gonna use bad language. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. If you realize who you are, that just your existence is giving Hashem pleasure, why would you? Why? It's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. To what are you doing? Why? What's the purpose? What are you doing to speak bad language? So to empower our children, not just you be good, you be the goody of your class. No, the whole vibe, the whole atmosphere should be one of, wow, Hashem chose us from everybody else. And we're going to see what that means, that everyone else is here. Everything is here for a purpose. The fact that there's a plant, a tree. A tree is not here just because there needs to be a tree. A tree is here so that it could give shade, so that it could give fruit, so that it could. Everything is here for a reason. The only thing that's not here, that essentially is here just because, is the Jewish people. There's nothing else. We're the only ones that came from Hashem's thought. We didn't come from Hashem's speech. We came from Hashem's thought. We're one with Hashem. So when a child realizes the infinite value his infinity, he's literally, he can do anything. Call mitzvahs. Call mitzvahs. You could keep all the mitzvahs. You're such a high. It's not classy. It's not classy for you to speak that way. So to literally impart that to the children, how special you are. If you know how special you are, then what is this behavior that you're behaving like any other nation that could just whatever, any whim, whatever I feel like I want this, and therefore I'll hit to get it. I mean, no, we're in a different class. We're royalty. Okay, so therefore it's specifically bringing this proof that we should be a holy nation. That's why Rashi is bringing this proof, because in Kedoshim, the end of Kedoshim is where Hashem is speaking also about a holy nation. Okay, now everything else that it says in this pasuk before, what does it say? That Hashem is going to make you supreme over all the nations that he made, that right? For praise, for renown, and for splendor. Guess what? In the haftarah of this parsha, it's incredible. It's incredible what it says. So I didn't print it out, but if you look at the haftarah, in Pasuk Yud Beis, of this week's Haftarah, if we're saying that this verse 19, is an instruction, it's an instruction for us, and guess what? It's an instruction for all the nations of the world as well, which Hashem is going to make us, raise us above them. And what does it say? The Haftarah is on page 412 in this particular Chumash. And verse 12 says, for the nation and the kingdom that will not serve you shall be lost, and the nations utterly destroyed. Could you believe that? This Haftarah is talking about the times of Mashiach, because we're still in the 7 weeks of comfort. After Tisha B'Av, there's 7 weeks, so the Haftarah is of comfort. And Hashem is telling you what's going to happen when Mashiach comes. When Mashiach comes, you always ask, what's going to be with all the other nations of the world? Very simple. It says it right here. For the nation and the kingdom that will not serve you shall be lost, and the nation is utterly destroyed, which means when Mashiach comes, if there's a nation that says, I don't want to serve the Jews, they are going to be destroyed. You could ask, destroyed? I mean, that's a little bit, fanatic over here. What do you mean destroyed? What did they do wrong? If you want to tell me the nations have 7 Noahide laws and they don't want to fulfill their 7 laws about being moral, so yeah, they should be destroyed. But they should be destroyed just because they don't want to serve the Jews? So this is it. This is an instruction to the other nations. Your whole purpose is to serve the Jews. If you're not doing your purpose, there's no purpose for you to be here, and then you could be destroyed. So that's why it's in this pasuk. When Hashem says, and to make you supreme over all the nations that He made, why is it in this pasuk? Because it's also an instruction. It's also an instruction to the other nations that they are here to serve us, whether they see it clearly right now or not. It'll become apparent when Mashiach comes. But we are the chosen people, and we are supreme over all of them. And what do we need to do? We need to be holy. It's a call to action. All the nations eat. They all sleep. They all do things for entertainment. We also eat and sleep and do things for entertainment. But we have to be holy in how we do it. We eat in order to serve Hashem. We sleep to have energy to serve Hashem. We have entertainment for emotional health, that we should be able to rejuvenate ourselves to serve Hashem. It's a whole different ball game. Why does the non-Jews, there's a story, I don't remember all the details, but they drink today, they eat today, and they make money so that tomorrow they can eat and drink again. It's not about serving a creator. It's about serving themselves. And for us, it's not about just happiness, just to be happy. It's our purpose is to be holy, and we have to act holy. But how do we act holy? By actually fulfilling Hashem's commandments, and by being a light unto the nations, which also is in this week's Haftarah, that we should be a light unto the nations. Okay. And the difference between the Yidden and the Goyim, the fact that the Yidden have 613 mitzvahs and the Goyim have 7, it's not just a difference in an amount, in quantity. It's in quality, of course. The people who are limited, you could only give them a certain amount of mitzvahs to do, and that's it. They're limited. You can only give them a certain amount. But for the Yidden, because we're unlimited, because we're infinite, therefore, we have so many more mitzvahs, and not just in quantity, but in quality. It's a whole different story, that even if that we're so connected that it's not just I'm doing it because I have to do it, but rather kedoshim. I'm not just doing the mitzvahs, but I'm making myself holy. That means the ice cream is kosher. If I eat the ice cream, then I didn't do anything wrong. But it's not just about doing the right thing. It's about being holy. It's going to the next level. It's doing what Hashem wants, doing what Hashem wants in an infinite, most beautiful, holy manner. Because we're infinite, so we can have an infinite amount of mitzvahs, and we're unlimited. Okay. Now, this is a beautiful, beautiful teaching. Now we're going to talk about Tanya for a few minutes. What is it talking about in Tanya? Seemingly no connection. It's telling you that if you're davening, and in the middle of davening you have bad thoughts, machshava zara, a negative thought to do something wrong, or just machshava zara, strange thoughts that come to you in the middle of davening. So remember, all these parakim of Tanya are all like to get you emotionally healthy, that don't be sad about it, because sadness is just going to pull you down and cause you to. And once you're sad, then you need to do something to feel good, and then the thing that you do to feel good is even worse than the reason that you were sad in the first place, and that whole vicious cycle. So the situation in this chapter, Tanya, is that you're feeling sad because you had a negative thought or distracting thought in the middle of davening. That's what the chapter is addressing, and there's different ways of how do you deal with it. So the answer, what to do, is to ignore the distracting thought and just try to daven with even more kavanah. Don't touch it. Don't deal with it. Don't have a conversation with it. Ignore it. That is the go-to tool for how to deal with distractions during davening. Now, the Baal Shem Tov and the Alter Rebbe says, don't make the mistake, because the Baal Shem Tov says that if you have a distracting thought, face it, deal with it, find its source, and you should confront it. So Alter Rebbe says, don't do that, because when the Baal Shem Tov was talking about that, he was talking about tzaddikim, not about beinanim. So someone once said to Rabbi Sheish Taub, he said, I can't follow the Tanya because the Alter Rebbe doesn't see eye to eye with the Baal Shem Tov. And so Rabbi Sheish Taub said, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. The Alter Rebbe was a big chassid of the Baal Shem Tov. If anyone knew what the Baal Shem Tov meant, it was the Alter Rebbe. So the Alter Rebbe is telling you what the Baal Shem Tov said, to confront the challenge, to confront the evil, that is for a tzaddik. Because if you are drowning, you can't save yourself. When you're in jail, you can't free yourself. When you're the one that's having the not good thoughts, you can't free yourself. You cannot battle it. But if you're a tzaddik, his machshava zaras comes not from him. It comes from the other people around him. Their machshava zaras are coming into his head or whatever it is. So he's on dry land. If you're on dry land, then you could deal with the 600-pound gorilla. But if you can't go into the cage with a 600-pound gorilla. It's not going to work. You're not going to win. You're going to make yourself filthy. If you fight with someone who's filthy, you're going to get filthy. So Alter Rebbe says, no, stay away. You have struggling and davening. Don't be sad. Be happy. Why? Because since your davening is so precious, you're doing the right thing, and therefore the side of evil, the evil inclination, can't handle it. And it means if you're having distracting thoughts, it means that your davening is so good that the evil inclination has to come and mess with you because you're being too good. So be happy. Don't let it in. Don't let it in. Ignore it. But don't be sad that you have distracting thoughts or negative thoughts or thoughts to do something wrong, but rather celebrate it. It means that my davening is so amazing that the Yetzer Hara has to come and try to stop me because I'm being so good.
It's a good way to, make yourself feel good.
It's not making yourself feel good, it's keeping yourself from doing bad.
Right, but if you're being distracted when you're dominating,
So you move on, just move on.
oh, you move
Right.
on, but I'm just saying, but you're being distracted. to
Yeah,
say
but if
that
you're gonna
it's a
think
big-
about it, you'll be even double distracted.
Right. You'll be drowning.
Just move right on.
Yeah, someone gave advice. I don't think Rabbi Sheistav accepted it. He said, if it works for you, fine. Everyone should do what works for them. But like, if it comes into your head, I have to pay the electric bill, write it down on the paper, pay the electric bill, and then move on. So Rabbi Sheistav didn't even want to do that. But if that works for this individual person, then go right ahead. If that can free, will that free you from that thought, or will it just make it more strong now that you actually wrote it down? I don't know. So everyone's different. Depends on the person. But for example, someone who was an alcoholic, right? So even if he's in recovery or whatever it is, it's been 20 years, but he always, you can't just say, deal with it. Here's a cup of wine, look at it and deal with it. You can't. There's some things that you have to know that I can't touch it. It's not like I could in 20 years from now, I'll be able to drink the wine in a healthy way. No, I cannot. I have to stay away from it. I have to completely stay away from it. So the same way when the evil, negative, distracting thought comes into your mind, we don't have the tools. The truth is, and Rabbi Sheistav says, which was all about last week's parsha, that even in the vinegar comes from the wine. Every evil thing, every evil thought, if you go to the root of it, it's really Hashem, it's really godliness. So let's take this evil thought and say the reason why I want to go on vacation so badly is because really I want to connect to Hashem. And he says, because the truth is that every negative thought really does have a positive at its core, but we don't have the tools to get there. We don't have the tools to fight with the 600-pound gorilla. We don't have the tools. So therefore, don't touch it, ignore it, leave it alone. That's the advice. And what should you do? Instead of fighting the evil, work on trusting Hashem in your daily life. Work on connecting to Hashem, and then once you get connected, then it will be the way to deal with negativity is not to fight it with a stick, but rather it's, if you go to this parsha, be holy. Be holy. Do holy things. Do good things. Do things that connect you to Hashem. Meditate about Hashem's greatness. A distracting thought comes into your head. Instead of fighting with it, start thinking about that you're Hashem's treasure. Start thinking about Hashem's greatness. Do holy stuff. So rather than fighting with the evil. If a person is addicted, to any whatever it is that he's addicted to, and then he becomes free of it, free of the obsession, and he realizes that what he was looking for in the addiction is what he found in his relationship with Hashem. But you can't tell a person who's still addicted, you know what, the truth is that you're really looking for Hashem. And therefore you're drinking wine because you just want to become numb of your pain and whatever it is. So just stop and just connect it to Hashem. It's not going to work that way because we don't have limited human beings. We're not limited, but we're unlimited human beings. And therefore it's hard for us you need to give a person steps, actions. What should they do? So rather than fight with the addiction, learn some Torah, meditate on the greatness of Hashem, have a relationship with Hashem, and then it'll be easier to let go of this crazy desire for the addiction because you already filled the bucket with holiness, with a connection to Hashem. So therefore, automatically you're able to let go of the negativity, of the obsession. The obsession is removed.
Right, I was just gonna say, it's more obsession than thoughts. Because it starts at thought, but you're going absolutely crazy. It turns into obsession.
Right, because the desire for the wine or the desire for the whatever the addiction is will always be there.
Yeah.
The only thing that's going to be removed is the obsession for that thing. So if I have to replace it with something else. If I'm learning, if I'm involved, if I'm doing good holy stuff, then the light will dispel the darkness.
And you know what, even like doing the first step of believing in existence and in essence, that itself is work. It's work. It's not like, I know that you're saying everything is true, but to believe that, to integrate that, actually to merge it in immersion piece, that itself is work.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm just.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And sometimes
Reflecting back there.
yeah, and absolutely. Sometimes a person is addicted, and you want to help them. You want them to go to, but a person has to be ready for the therapy. Has to be open to the therapy. Sometimes, you can't force someone to go to therapy. They have to come to want to change, and they want to be helped. If they're not open to being helped or to change, then nothing's gonna work. Yeah. Okay. So I just think that it's an incredible theme. We learned this in the previous chapters of Tanya, chapter 6, 7, and 8. Chapter 6 was how to deal with the evil within. Chapter 7 and 8 is how to deal with the evil within the world. So here we're talking about you have evil within. You have an evil thought inside of you. How should you deal with it? And then chapter 7 and 8, we spoke about there's two types of evil, or klipa, or a shell, or something that's not apparent. Its holiness is not apparent. There's klipas neiga, which is the holiness is not apparent, and then there's gimel klipas atmeis, which is it's tied down. It's forbidden and it's tied down. For example, a ham sandwich. So in this world, we don't have the tools to fight with the ham sandwich. I could take the lemonade. Lemonade is klipas neiga. Lemonade, when I look at the lemonade, I don't see Hashem apparent. If I make a blessing, then I elevated the lemonade and I made the lemonade holy. That's klipas neiga. That we could do. You see, what did I say? I can make it holy. V'isam kadashim, be holy. That you want to know how to live your life? You want to know this? Look at the Chumash. You want to do, take klipas neiga, and v'isam kadashim, make the lemonade holy. But then there are things that, like a ham sandwich, or things that are forbidden. Those are gimel klipas atmeis. Those things are tied down. They're usher. Usher means tied down. Mutar means released, and usher means it's tied down. It's tied down to evil. And maybe its source, when Mashiach comes, it will be kosher. But and when Mashiach comes, Hashem said he's going to Hashem says he will remove the evil from the world. It's not going to be us. Unless a person is a Baal Tshuva and his sins become merits and he's able to, which is a very, very high level, the level of a Baal Tshuva, that is only a Baal Tshuva could take the ham sandwich and elevate it. But for the rest of us, v'isam kadashim, deal with holy, pure, good stuff. Don't fight with the darkness. Don't make yourself dirty. Don't make yourself filthy. You have an evil thought, you have a negative thought, ignore it, and put more concentration into your davening. Think about the greatness of Hashem. That's what you should do. Step one is v'isam kedoshim. Don't touch it. If it's forbidden, if it's evil, if it's forbidden and it's evil, don't fight against it. Rather, put more effort, do more holy stuff, find other ways to connect to Hashem, learn more, do more, connect more, holy stuff, elevate whatever you can. Don't bother fighting with the evil. Now, the Alter Rebbe continues and he says, if it doesn't work, you're having thoughts that are negative, that are evil, and you're trying as hard as you can to ignore it, but no matter what you do, those thoughts won't go away. And you can't deal. What should you do? So step one, or the the best case, the best thing that you could do is be holy and don't ignore it. If you and the best thing is to ignore it. But if that doesn't work for whatever reason, then you have to go to plan B. Plan A is ignore it and be holy. Plan B is make yourself humble and ask Hashem for his mercy and tell Hashem, my soul is part of you. I am your child. And therefore have pity on my soul and get rid of these negative thoughts. And as I'm reading this, I'm saying, this is Am Segula. I'm your treasure. I'm your treasure. Plan A, okay, it's a different order, but this was the aha moment. You take a parak of Tanya, it's talking about davening, distracting thoughts. What's the connection to the parsha? But it's so clear. Plan A is be holy. Be holy, ignore it, don't fight with it, don't make yourself, don't get your hands dirty. And plan B, if that doesn't work, then go back to your core. Go back to your core. Not that the order is reversed, but go to your core. You see, from Hashem's perspective, Hashem is up here and we're down here, so to speak. So from Hashem's perspective, first he sees the treasure. First he sees our core. And then after that is how we are in this world. But we are looking down up. So for us, our order is first Visim Kadeshim. First try to ignore it and be holy. If that doesn't work, then go a step up. For us, the order is reversed. Go a step up and say, Hashem, I am your most cherished, valuable treasure that's locked up in your vault. And I'm one with you. And therefore, have pity on me. Have pity on me and remove these thoughts so that I could be connected to you. Not because I want to have a good davening, but because just have mercy on my soul. Have mercy on yourself because I'm one with you.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow.
156, Baruch Hashem. Okay.
That's amazing. That's amazing.